So volunteer help opens us up to a big insurance liability. If we have a volunteer out on the street and say somebody hits them, you could sue us. And frankly, that's just not really an acceptable scenario. This is a business, and it should not be run like a charity. It shouldn't be that when a customer wants to help, they can. It just doesn't really, it's not the way that a business should be run, definitely not a water company. We have to know how much money we have coming in so we can allocate it correctly to infrastructure repair, emergency fund, infrastructure improvement, replacing tanks and things like that. So we have to know what's coming in so we can budget correctly. It can't just be, oh, well, we know we can get a volunteer to come and help us, or somebody to come and help write a grant. Now, that being said, we have accepted customer volunteers to recreate our website, which I know would benefit everyone if the website's updated, easier to understand, not outdated information on it. Or if the customers have offered to help write grants and whatnot, we do have a company that's helping us do grants. But those are the kind of volunteer things that could help, but not actual day-to-day operations or emergency repairs.
You said that you had applied for grants. It's my understanding that as a private for-profit water company, you're limited as to where you can get those grants or prevented from them. So where have you applied for those 2 grants?
I believe one went to state of California. I know we had reached out to our grant writer to see if there was any federal grants available. I don't write the grants. I'm not really involved in that side, but I know that we've applied for them. I can provide that information, the exact places that those grant writers have sent them to. But we have applied, and just for some reason we haven't gotten a response. I believe one place we applied for, they're out of money. Unfortunately, the way that our government works is that if you sell pizza for profit and your business is destroyed by the storm, you can get a low interest loan. But if you sell water for profit, you can't get a low interest loan to repair your company. Now, that is just unacceptable in my opinion, but that's the world we live in. So I don't make those rules.
I wondered where they were, wherever they applied, those people that are writing your grants, do those places that they applied to actually give grants to private water companies?
Well, it's the Cal Water Association is who's helping us write those grants, and they are who we are relying on to know those things. As all of you know, the 3 of us, we operate the system. Yes, my father's an owner, but he digs holes and gets in the woods and cuts trees out of roadways. So we don't have a lot of time for that. So when there's an agency that does have that ability for us, we rely on them to figure that out, that side of that out. It's a little beyond what our expertise is. A lot beyond.
Okay, so you have one place that you applied, that they've applied for a grant?
I believe they've sent out applications to a few places. I'm pretty sure that they're looking into federal. I had a customer tell me to reach out and look for federal grants. So that was the direction we steered them in. I haven't heard back on that, but I know we did apply for a California grant as well. So, and that's the storm recovery as well as a grant for a second water source.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Why didn't Big Basin have fire insurance? Do they plan to buy?
We did have fire insurance, and we do have liability insurance now because no one will cover our infrastructure. There isn't an insurance company that will. I've reached out to the water boards, I've reached out to the PUC. They cannot furnish any business that will insure Big Basin water infrastructure. But we did have fire insurance, and we did do a lot of work with that money to get the system back operational after the fire. Unfortunately, a large portion of that money went to just operating the system when there were so many customers who were not there for the whole evacuation time, and things still need to get paid for. And then the large amount of customer base that was down, I think it was 100 and something connections were not paying bills. So the insurance money was there. It wasn't as much as it would have been helpful. But then again, we can only afford so much of a premium to have insurance, so we were somewhat limited.
So if that is the case, if the sale that you're talking about, you have a buyer, why would they want to purchase the system if it's uninsurable and it has so much damage to it?
That would be a question for the buyer, but they are actually interested. So regardless of any questions you have for them, they're interested, and we will hopefully be able to share information about that publicly soon. We're just not quite at that point, but it's absolutely in all of our best interests as we live on the water company as well. And my children go to school with your children. We're all in the same community here. That's the very best scenario for all of us, and they're interested. So when the time comes to make that public,